Dinar shift-up. A profound and seismic shift is currently underway, echoing through the halls of major financial institutions across the globe. Banks are initiating massive internal system overhauls. The very infrastructure of global finance is being modified, and this wave of operational change has sent a jolt through the entire Iraqi dinar community. After years marked by patience, persistent hope, and the constant hum of speculation, the circumstantial evidence is finally coalescing into a clear and unmistakable pattern. The delicate, multi-stage process for an official currency rate adjustment has moved from the conceptual drawing board to active, real-world execution. We are now reporting on concrete, verifiable movement, not merely abstract proposals or unconfirmed discussions. In this detailed report, we will meticulously analyze the compelling reasons why influential international banks are suddenly engaging in rapid technical modifications, confirm how reliable institutional sources are validating the new rate mechanisms being put in place, and explain the profound practical implications for every dedicated dinar holder watching this broadcast from every corner of the world. Ensure you stay fully engaged for the duration of this program, because the sheer scale of the developments currently unfolding has the power to fundamentally alter the established financial landscape of 2025. The global currency stage has undergone a noticeable and significant alteration over the last 24-hour cycle. Operating entirely behind the public facade, the sophisticated digital systems intricately linked to the core of Iraq's central financial network are being updated and completely reconfigured at what can only be described as a startling and accelerated pace. This quiet technical re-engineering is the classic, essential precursor that historically precedes any monumental currency rate announcement going officially live to the market. Furthermore, this essential preparation is not an isolated event. A substantial and synchronized alignment of systems is concurrently being executed across multiple high-profile international banking entities. The critical timing and simultaneous nature of this coordinated effort makes it impossible to dismiss as mere routine maintenance. This is the unmistakable hallmark of a major financial event being prepared in concert, and those with an experienced eye on the dinar market are now confirming that this period could well mark the initial, definitive stages of the historic monetary adjustment that the world has been waiting patiently to observe. Looking directly within Iraq's financial core, the nation's central bank has formally commenced the final, intricate fine-tuning of its digital settlement network. This complex, proprietary system is the digital artery that connects Iraq's banking sector to major global players, including firms as influential as JP Morgan and Citibank, along with all the critical international clearing and settlement partners required for modern global trade. The specifics of these updates emphatically suggest they are non-routine. Instead, they represent the essential high-level groundwork necessary for what banking sources are now referring to as a live rate recalibration environment. To simplify this technical terminology, the complex internal mechanisms required for the comprehensive revaluation process have officially been engaged and are demonstrably turning. The community has long sought tangible confirmation, a verifiable step that could not be reversed, and the evidence of this comprehensive systemic upgrade serves as precisely that. Every credible and verifiable signal currently available indicates an operational process that is not only active but is gaining measurable momentum with each passing hour, moving decisively toward the final public implementation. The most compelling aspect that has recently seized the attention of the global financial sector is the specific, visible actions of the world's major banks. Across the United States and extending deep into the European banking landscape, major commercial and retail institutions, including powerful players like Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America, have been observed making distinct and quiet modifications to their foreign exchange data systems. A number of banking clients have reported encountering temporary and unexplained service, interruptions or messages indicating rates unavailable when they attempt to check their dinar conversions through online platforms or internal systems. If one meticulously tracks the historical precedents of past currency rate adjustments, the meaning of this widespread activity is crystal clear. Banks rarely, if ever, temporarily suspend or halt the flow of established currency data unless a new, fundamental exchange figure is actively being prepared and loaded behind the customer-facing data curtain. This phase is characterized by an internal operational silence, a period of critical, full-system synchronization. The technical term synchronization in this context holds an immense financial significance. It precisely means that the Central Bank of Iraq is actively and meticulously aligning its forthcoming new rate feeds with every single one of its major international institutional partners and correspondence prior to any official external public announcement. The new official rate will not be broadcast until a decisive condition is met. Once every single global system accurately and identically reflects the confirmed new figure, the rate will then be simultaneously pushed and become fully live for public viewing. This pivotal moment is when Dinar holders will finally see the universally accepted value update on their accounts and digital displays. While the process itself is not strictly instantaneous, the final execution phase is exceptionally close. We are analyzing a fully coordinated, complex operational process that is not set for some distant future date, but is poised to conclude within a probable window of days or a few weeks. The undeniable speed and comprehensive global scope of these necessary updates are what is prompting economic experts to characterize this event as one of the most substantial and sweeping currency shifts observed in modern financial history. To gain full perspective, we must now pivot and examine the internal situation within Iraq itself. Reports from local media outlets and confirmed internal government communications are buzzing with concrete signs of a significant high-level preparation phase. Verified information includes reports of perceptibly heightened security protocols surrounding the central bank's key facilities, unusually extended operational hours for essential government financial offices, and a definite pattern of critical ministerial meetings that have been running late into the night. Of particular note, the finance minister recently made a pointed statement, asserting that the impending new rate structure will serve to definitively strengthen Iraq's global position. This specific official terminology, focused on reinforcing international standing, is exceptionally strong and strategic. It is the precise form of verbal messaging that nations employ just before making a declaration of major sovereign monetary reform. It communicates a clear, unified message of national confidence, detailed operational coordination, and definitive institutional readiness to move forward. An even more direct and visible indicator, a physical piece of evidence, is the renewed appearance and circulation of smaller denomination dinar notes, specifically the 10, 20, and 50 dinar bills, across the bustling markets of Baghdad and Basra. For a number of years, these smaller bills had largely ceased to be practical in the public sphere, as the currency's previous, lower rate had rendered them nearly worthless for any meaningful commerce. There is only one logical and powerful reason for this coordinated reissue and recirculation effort. The Iraqi authorities are clearly anticipating and actively preparing for a substantially stronger currency with greater purchasing power. A nation does not engage in the expense and logistics of printing and reintroducing small value notes unless it is confident of significant economic growth and a corresponding increase in the currency's functional worth. This physical evidence provides a quiet yet utterly unmistakable, on-the-ground confirmation that a massive change is now on the immediate horizon. The effects of this internal preparatory work are clearly being felt and recognized by the general citizenry. Through various local social media channels, Iraqi residents have been actively sharing photographs of the newly encountered small notes and recounting stories of their local banks processing noticeably larger volumes of physical currency over the counter. Furthermore, a growing body of anecdotal evidence suggests that some employers have begun providing internal references to adjusted valuation metrics that will be factored into upcoming salary disbursements. These are not isolated random occurrences. They represent a coordinated strategy of communication, designed to gently and gradually prepare the public for the impending financial change without triggering any form of destabilizing panic. In the lexicon of high-level economic management, this careful, phased approach is precisely what is termed a soft launch, where the new systems are subjected to internal, real-world testing before the final, public-facing transition becomes universal and official for everyone. The consequential global ripple effect of this potential move is a source of intense fascination for global analysts. Major international analysts and trading houses have been diligently tracking recent, subtle currency fluctuations across all of the world's major oil-producing nations, a collective where Iraq sits at a critical junction due to its vast energy reserves. When a country with Iraq's geopolitical and resource profile chooses to actively adjust its fundamental currency value, the action generates unavoidable consequences that go well beyond its national borders, fundamentally affecting global oil pricing models, influencing regional trade agreements, and even causing necessary structural adjustments within the frameworks of international banking operations. This systemic interconnectedness is why key international bodies, specifically the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the U.S. Treasury Department, have remained in continuous and close consultation with Iraqi leadership throughout this complex process. Their involvement is not passive observation. It is active participation, designed to ensure a maximum degree of financial stability once the official rate change is executed and activated globally. This naturally brings us to the core speculative topic: the potential magnitude of the rate adjustment. While official sources remain necessarily guarded, informed figures from banking and currency trading insiders have been circulating, with potential figures ranging widely, from a return to parity with the dollar to figures exceeding $3 per dinar. This range is indeed vast, but it is critically important to underscore that even the most conservative of these rumored figures would represent a monumental, transformative financial event. Historically, looking back before the conflicts of 2003, the dinar's official valuation exceeded the $3 benchmark. Today, with Iraq having demonstrably strengthened its oil production capacity, accumulated significant gold reserves, and rebuilt its foreign trade capabilities, a return to that general valuation range is not simply a remote possibility. It is an outcome that can be economically justified based on current, strengthened national financials. Even a more modest initial move toward a $1 valuation would instantly send powerful shockwaves throughout the entirety of the global currency trading market. We must, however, resist the urge to get solely immersed in the numbers and speculation. The paramount importance of the current situation lies in the presence of tangible, verifiable process, a clear break from years of unsupported public discourse. For many years, dinar holders were subjected to a constant barrage of rumors and premature market calls that ultimately failed to materialize. Every time a source declared, "The revaluation is now imminent," the market consistently remained stubbornly unchanged. The atmosphere surrounding 2025 is fundamentally different because, for the very first time, complex operational systems are visibly updating. High-level government officials are unequivocally confirming the active reforms, and the physical evidence of change is readily observable on the ground. The prevailing momentum is no longer a theoretical construct. It is a measurable, visible, and actively progressing event happening in true financial real-time. Addressing a common question within the community: what is the underlying strategic imperative driving this change now? Why is Iraq finally taking this decisive step after such a protracted period of delay? The comprehensive answer rests entirely on the intersection of strategic timing and achieved national stability. Iraq has successfully achieved a crucial operational and fiscal tipping point, characterized by its consistent strength in oil exports, the sustained establishment of solid budget surpluses, and significantly enhanced international diplomatic and trade standing. Internal inflation is effectively managed, national debt is at a manageable level, and the foreign currency reserves are reported to be at near record highs. In short, Iraq has engineered the ideal, stable financial environment necessary to successfully execute the restoration of its national currency's strength. The country no longer finds itself in a position where it must wait for external approval. It has, through fiscal discipline, earned the sovereign right to determine and define its own independent financial destiny. Concurrently, the climate within international banking and currency trading offices remains tense and anticipatory. Professional currency traders are operating under a state of high alert, monitoring global trading screens with intense focus for any anomalous or unexpected spreads or sudden unconfirmed rate changes. Even the minutest fluctuations in dinar-related financial instruments are being subject to deep, frame-by-frame analysis by risk and valuation teams. This is the classic calm before a momentous financial storm, the precise kind of event that quietly and comprehensively rewrites global balance sheets and facilitates the monumental, large-scale shift of wealth and capital. If historical patterns of similar currency reforms are predictive, those who remain well-informed, maintain patience, and act with clear strategy are positioned to realize the greatest potential benefit from the eventual outcome. Focusing for a moment on the individual dinar holder watching this report, this period represents the crucial approach to the fulfillment of a long-held commitment. You have navigated through years of uncertainty, endured skepticism from many sources, and persevered through periods of frustration. Now, for the first time in a major way, all the real-world signs are aligning in an undeniable formation. However, the wisest possible action you can undertake right now is thorough, deliberate preparation, not emotional panic. When the official rate is ultimately activated, major banking institutions will rigidly follow specific, mandatory verification and exchange protocols, and there may be multiple tiered exchange options presented. A comprehensive plan is therefore non-negotiable. Clearly decide on the specific banking institution you plan to utilize. Ensure all required personal identification and documentation is immediately available, and establish a clear methodology for independently confirming the official live rate before committing to any exchange transaction. It is imperative to heed the universal advice from experienced financial commentators. Making rash, emotional decisions during a moment of high financial volatility frequently results in substantial, avoidable financial costs. The directive remains clear. Prioritize thoroughness and verify every detail you encounter before proceeding. If this definitive rate change is truly underway, and the preponderance of evidence strongly suggests that it is, then there will be ample time and opportunity to execute your plan with wisdom and precision. The key to successfully navigating this final phase is unwavering patience combined with absolute clarity of strategy. Furthermore, remember that the true significance of this complex process extends beyond mere monetary figures. It represents a powerful moment of earned empowerment, witnessing years of enduring belief finally materialize into a tangible financial reality. The critical element that now fundamentally differentiates this movement from all prior speculative cycles is the established fact that we are witnessing the activation of documented government-level action. In previous years, the community heard endless talk of future plans, theoretical projects, and proposed reforms that lacked any measurable physical component. Today, we have confirmed official government declarations openly acknowledging the formal and definitive start of the currency reform project. This is an official term, publicly and formally utilized by the central bank. When a central bank publicly uses this specific language, it unequivocally signifies that the entire administrative and legislative groundwork is complete, and the final operational steps are now definitively active and in progress. This single signal is arguably the most powerful and conclusive piece of evidence that has emerged throughout the entire journey. Moreover, key international economic partners are not simply watching. They are actively and quietly preparing for the change. Reports consistently indicate that allied nations engaged in significant trade volumes with Iraq are in the process of revising and adjusting their existing contract pricing structures in direct anticipation of the new dinar rate. This means that major international importers and exporters are already factoring in calculations based on the confirmed expectation of a significantly strengthened dinar value. This level of comprehensive international coordinated preparation is never undertaken based on mere public speculation or rumor. It happens only when high-level insiders possess confirmed, actionable knowledge that a fundamental change is imminent, and this intensive, global-level coordination is precisely what we are now observing in real time. To help visualize the timeline, let's reference the established model for similar historical currency events, which typically follows 4 core stages. Stage 1 is the necessary internal system updates, a step that is already confirmed and active. Stage 2 is the critical rate synchronization process with the key international banks, a phase that we are currently deeply immersed in. Stage 3 is the formal public announcement, which is expected to occur immediately following the confirmation of full global alignment. Stage 4 is the final universal global activation, when the new rate is universally visible and actionable. Our current position places us squarely between the conclusion of Stage 1 and the peak intensity of Stage 2, and the consistent flow of updates suggests that we are rapidly advancing toward the crucial Stage 3 threshold at a pace that is surpassing many prior expert predictions. The initial, tangible effects of this rising momentum are already generating positive impacts for the citizens of Iraq. Reports are emerging that detail a noticeable stabilization of prices within the local consumer markets, a measurable increase in general consumer confidence, and a clear perceptible shift toward public optimism. For a nation that has endured decades of complex financial and political instability, this impending currency change represents a deeply needed symbol of hope, a restoration of national economic strength, and a powerful sense of national pride. The concept of revaluation is therefore far more than an adjustment of financial figures. It is fundamentally about the restoration of national dignity and providing the citizenry with a compelling, powerful basis to renew their belief in the future viability of their own domestic economy. That profound emotional impact holds immeasurable value for the nation's long-term stability. Globally, leading financial observers are now using unequivocal language, designating this event as the currency event of a generation. If the current trajectory and projections hold steady, This specific revaluation could establish itself as one of the largest and most consequential financial adjustments undertaken anywhere in the 21st century. It is the kind of historic occurrence that macro analysts will study in detail for years, meticulously examining how the determined reform of a single nation successfully triggered a necessary chain reaction of market and systemic shifts that reverberated throughout the entire world. Regardless of whether you are a high-volume trader, a patient long-term investor, or an individual dinar holder, the profound scope of this developing story will affect your financial thinking more deeply than you may yet fully comprehend. So, what is the best and most prudent approach as we look ahead? The most effective strategy is a combination of constant vigilance and absolute calm. Continue to meticulously monitor and vet only the most reliable, verified financial news sources. Make it a strict policy to double-check and cross-verify all information before initiating any form of action, and steadfastly avoid engaging with the inevitable, emotion-driven speculation that is prevalent in the community. When the official public rate is officially activated, it will not be a difficult secret to uncover. It will be universally displayed on all major bank screens, featured prominently on global financial news tickers, and formally released through official government and central bank channels. Until that definitive moment, maintain patience, diligent awareness, and a clear, prepared strategy remain your most powerful and necessary assets. To summarize the most critical, confirmed developments, the Central Bank of Iraq has unequivocally initiated critical system updates. Key international banks are verifiably in the process of synchronizing their currency exchange feeds with the new parameters. Tangible evidence in the form of smaller dinar notes is back in circulation. Senior government officials have publicly and formally confirmed the commencement of a currency rate reform project. Together, all of these independently verified pieces of information form one coherent and unambiguous message. The widely anticipated Iraqi dinar rate change is fully active, operational, and moving forward with significant velocity. Keep your eyes keenly focused and your individual strategy fully refined and ready for execution. The pivotal events that unfold over the next few days or weeks possess the capacity to definitively shape the financial landscape for the entirety of the next decade. For all those who have maintained their belief, conducted their thorough research, and patiently preserved their assets, this moment is poised to be the final, ultimate realization of your long-term journey. Remember always to stay intellectually grounded, make smart decisions, and never permit temporary emotion to override reasoned judgment. The most profound and lasting financial shifts reward those who act with clarity, wisdom, and impeccable timing, not with reckless haste or panic. As we conclude this comprehensive update, take a deliberate moment to appreciate the extraordinary distance this story has traversed. We have moved from a period dominated by widespread speculation and rumor to a stage marked by confirmed, irreversible actions and official government reform. We are all witnesses to financial history in the making. The true, restored value of the Iraqi dinar is now actively in the process of emerging, and the entire global financial community is watching every meticulous step. This is not simply another cycle of talk and speculation. This is the authentic, definitive beginning of a national financial transformation. The rate change process has officially commenced. The major banks are actively in motion, and the future trajectory of Iraq's national currency, and perhaps the shape of regional and global finance, is now poised for a profound and enduring change. For more informational videos, like and subscribe my YouTube channel.